earthquakes in Sichuan and lockdowns in Chengdu. US may use Filipino military bases. Biden to host first US Pacific Islands Summit. Solomon Islands say Australia and New Zealand exempt from Navy Ship Moratorium. Liz Truss to be new UK Prime Minister. Italy Meloni warns of broader risks posed by Ukraine conflict. Canada rocked by multiple deadly stabbings. Rwanda skin whitening persists.
Hello, I'm Johnny. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. It's Tuesday, September 6th, and here are your top stories. A magnitude 6.8 earthquake struck Sichuan province on Monday, the strongest to hit the region since 2017, killing more than 30 people and shaking the provincial capital of Chengdu and more distant provinces. The China Earthquake Network Center said the epicenter was at the town of Luding in the mountains about 226 kilometers southwest of Chengdu. No damage to dams and hydropower stations within 50 kilometers of the epicenter was reported, although damage to the provincial grid had affected power to about 40,000 end users.
哇塞，这个地震，哇，我的妈呀，完了，接了。
The Chengdu government announced on Sunday that it will continue to impose COVID lockdown curbs in most of the city. However, Monday's quake was so strong and frightening that people were unable to follow the restrictions and rushed out of buildings into the streets. State media reported that Monday's quake was also felt in the provinces of Yunnan, Shanxi, and Guizhou, hundreds of kilometers away. Some roads and homes near the epicenter were damaged by landslides, while communications were down in at least one area.
Philippines ambassador to the U.S. Jose Manuel Ramirez said that it would allow the U.S. forces to use its military bases in the event of a Taiwan conflict, but then noted with the caveat, if it is important for us, for our own security. Indian media once said since the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, and Taiwan have counterclaims over the South China Sea, which China considers its own. Thus, the Philippines extending the services of its military bases to the U.S. is a move purely dictated by its own gains.
With many drills taking place in the northern Philippines, just over 600 kilometers south of China and Taiwan,
The media reported that Romualdez said that Manila is in talks with Washington to increase the number of military bases that U.S. forces can use in Philippine territory. He noted that our military and the military of the United States are all looking into what are the possible areas. According to reports from WION, Romualdez is a relative of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and wields considerable influence in the power corridors of Manila. The diplomat reported it seems likely that Marcos will visit the U.S. before China.
U.S. President Joe Biden will host the first ever summit with leaders of Pacific Island nations in late September. The White House said the two-day summit from September 28th in Washington will reflect deepening cooperation on key issues such as climate change, pandemic response, economic recovery, maritime security, environmental protection, and advancing a free and open Indo-Pacific. The White House has invited 12 Pacific Island countries to the summit, including the Solomon Islands.
But instead, the main talking point was who wasn't coming to the first in-person meeting in 3 years.
In July, the Biden administration announced a set of actions to enhance the U.S. Pacific Islands partnership, including plans to open new embassies and secure $60 million per year for the next 10 years, nearly triple the current levels, for the region's economic development. The United States has been stepping up efforts to engage the Pacific Island nations, apparently due to alarm over Beijing's recent moves to bolster its influence, such as the signing of a security pact with the Solomon Islands in April.
Solomon Islands Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare told the parliament on Monday that Navy vessels from Australia and New Zealand will be exempt from a temporary ban on foreign ships entering the ports of the Solomon Islands. Last week, Sogavare announced a moratorium on foreign Navy vessels entering port following incidents in which a U.S. Coast Guard vessel and a British Navy vessel on patrol for illegal fishing were unable to refuel in Honiara.
We urge the relevant parties to respect facts,
refrain from abusing China's restraint and immediately stop any actions that endanger China's national sovereignty and security in the name of implementing UN Security Council resolutions.
Questioned by opposition members of parliament about the moratorium, Sagavare said, military vessels deployed under the Solomon Islands International Assistance Force, a treaty under which Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji work with the Solomon Islands police, would be exempt. Yet tensions are high in the Solomon Islands, as changes to the constitution to delay a general election are expected to pass parliament this week.
Liz Truss was elected as the leader of the governing Conservative Party on Monday and will become Britain's next Prime Minister. Truss, 47, has promised to act quickly to tackle Britain's cost of living crisis, saying that within a week she will come up with a plan to tackle rising energy bills and secure future fuel supplies. Veteran Conservative lawmaker David Davis described the challenges she would take on as Prime Minister as probably the second most difficult brief of post-war Prime Ministers, after Conservative Margaret Thatcher in 1979.
After being appointed, Truss became the Conservatives' fourth Prime Minister since 2015, but she faces a long, costly, and difficult to-do list which is estimated could run into tens of billions of pounds. Britain has lagged behind other major European countries in its offer of subsidies for consumer energy bills. In May, the government set out a £15 billion support package to help households with energy bills as a part of its £37 billion cost of living support scheme.
Giorgia Meloni, set to lead a new Italian government with two parties as the first female Prime Minister of Italy, warned that if Ukraine falls and the West perishes, the big winner will not be Putin's Russia, but Xi Jinping's China. She said at the Ambrosetti Forum in northern Italy that the war in Ukraine is the tip of the iceberg of a conflict aimed at reshaping the world order. Europe risks finding themselves under Chinese influence, so we have to fight this battle.
Meloni leads the largest party in a center-right alliance with the League Party and Forza Italia, which is on course for a clear victory in Italy's election on September 25th, making her set to become its first female prime minister. While both the League and Forza Italia had close ties to Russia before the invasion of Ukraine, Meloni Brothers of Italy, which traces its roots back to a post-fascist party, has spoken out strongly in support of the Western line on Ukraine on a number of occasions.
At least 10 people have been killed and another 15 injured in a stabbing rampage in Canada's central Sichuan province. The victims were found in 13 locations in the James Smith Cree Nation and the nearby village of Weldon. Two suspects named Damian Sanderson, 31, and Miles Sanderson, 30, are on the run and considered armed. Residents have been told to shelter in place as a massive manhunt continues across the entire vast province.
The media reported that the first emergency call was made to police at 5:40 local time on Sunday in the provincial capital, Regina. This was quickly followed by many more calls for help, developing into a rapidly unfolding event. Commanding Officer Rhonda Blackmore said that some people may have been targeted by the two suspects, while others are believed to have been attacked randomly. Police said there could be more injured people who had taken themselves to the hospital, urging them to contact authorities.
The Rwanda government has been enforcing a nationwide ban on 2018 on cosmetics and hair dyes containing harmful chemicals like hydroquinone or mercury, making it illegal to produce or sell most skin lightening cosmetics. But CNN reported despite the ban, there remains demand for lighter skin, which keeps the market for these products very much alive on the ground. Even after the authority warned that misuse or prolonged use of products containing mercury, steroids, or hydroquinone can be toxic.
The Rwandan government spokesperson, Yolanda Mokolo, admits that Rwanda still has some way to go to eliminate the practice of skin whitening altogether because there is still a generation stuck to the idea that fair skin is better than dark. Dermatologists believe that colorism, usually within the same ethnic or racial group, had not been sufficiently addressed as a cultural driver by the Rwandan government's policies, and as such, keeps feeding the underground market for skin lightening products.
FUNDAY News will help you sharpen your English skills and keep you informed about international current events. If you want to know more about our other programs and keep learning about the world's most important topics in English, please click the link in the description below to join FUNDAY for free. And that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on FUNDAY News. I'm Johnny Wu, your host. I will see you next time.